Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. This webinar is going to be about an hour long, and we are really excited to welcome you all here for our year in review. We'll be running through some of our highlights for the year, and make sure you stick around until the end to get a sneak peek at what we have coming in 2024. So, I am Annie, and I am your co-host today, and I am going to be joined by some very special guests. So, as I said, I'm Annie. I'm a social media specialist here at Flourish. And also joining me, we have Louisa, who is a product manager at Flourish. We have Helly, a
Hello.
software engineer on the working on the template team, and Katie, a software engineer working on the platform team at Flourish. But first things first, I'm just going to go over a few bits of housekeeping before we get going in the session. Please ask any questions through the chat. I will be monitoring these and will make sure they get answered. We will also have time for questions at the end. You can go to our webinar page for more information about future sessions and links from the webinar and the slides and all that jazz. And also make sure you sign up for the Flourish newsletter to get emails about our future webinars. We've got some really exciting ones coming up, so make sure you sign up so you don't miss out. And finally, we will be sharing the links to the slides and a recording of the webinar by the end of the week. So keep an eye out for that on your inbox. And also make sure you share your feedback. There is a survey you can fill out after the webinar, and filling it in helps us to make sure that the webinars are right for you guys. And we really appreciate any feedback. But without further ado, let's dive straight into a year in review. So today we've got some really exciting things to cover. I'm going to start out with 2023 in numbers, and then we'll be talking about what has been launched and loved before moving on to visualizing connections and discussing our 2023 events. And then we'll be taking a look at some of the remarkable projects from 2023 before finally wrapping it up with a look towards 2024. But first of all, let's start with 2023 in numbers. So in 2023, over 1 million users have created over 2 million visuals that have clocked up over 3 billion views, which are some huge numbers in there. So thank you to all of you for helping us to reach those. But as for which templates are the most popular, we've got a little race of the templates here for you to see. As always, Line Bar Pie is really in the lead, winning the race, but it is closely followed by Bar Chart Race. And Projection Map is coming up there as well. But please feel free to let us know in the chat what your most used template of 2023 was. In 2023, we also happened to launch 23 new blog posts covering a massive range of topics, from a Love Island data deep dive written by yours truly to the best practices for dual axis charts. And you can check all of these out at flourish.studio/blog. As well, we also had over 700 template updates to add new features and improvements to make sure you have the best experience whilst using the tool. And now I'm going to hand over to Louisa, Helly, and Katie to run you through some of our biggest launches from the year. So over to you guys.
Hello, thank you so much, Annie. Hi, my name is Louisa, and I am super excited to be here to help share some of the new features that we launched in 2023. So the first one on our list that we can see right here is that we launched our no-code scrollytelling solution. We started off the year strong with this one and made it super easy to create these beautiful, stunning digital narratives with charts and also videos and images. Over to Helly to talk about another exciting example of something we launched.
Thanks, Louisa. So next up, we added curved annotations. So you can now add curved connectors to the annotations added to your visualizations. We've also added a couple of extra features like an open arrowhead and text background setting. And we've also added some improvements to make annotations easier to align and position on your charts. Next up is back to Louisa.
Thank you. Yeah, we also launched another new template called the Interactive SVG. And this one helps you bring any static SVG to life and making it interactive, whether that's through kind of pop-ups that appear on hover or click, like we can see here in this example, or maybe revealing certain parts of your SVG as you click on them. So this is a super powerful tool that's already, I've been seeing so many cool examples created with it, and I can't wait to see more as we step into 2024.
And we've been working a lot on improving the way that our users who are within a company can collaborate on projects. And as part of that, we've launched a new sharing permission system. So this gives you a lot more control over the visibility of your projects. And now you're able to make them either completely private to just you or viewable or editable by your colleagues. And as part of this, you can now collaborate on both stories as well as visualizations.
Next up, we launched a whole new template, the 3D globe template. This means you can create rich visualizations where you can size, color, or filter points or show events over time. And you can also add annotations to guide users through your globe story. We've also spent a lot of time learning about and implementing improvements in terms of accessibility this year. One of the key ones was keyboard navigation. So we have lots of interactive elements and features across our templates like pop-ups and hover and click events and controls and filters. So it's important to make these elements accessible for users that use a keyboard to navigate rather than a mouse. So throughout this year, we've been adding to our templates, and the majority of them are now keyboard accessible. We've also been looking at screen readability. So you've always, for quite a while, been able to add screen reader descriptions to your templates, but you might want to make other elements of your charts readable to those who use screen readers. So we've added more comprehensive ARIA attributes to provide things like pop-up information to those who use screen readers. And one of the other accessibility things we've been looking at is auto contrast. So adding auto contrasting text to more of our templates. We've swapped out the algorithm we use for one that provides a more accurate estimation of how people perceive color and takes into account more factors like whether we're checking for contrast for a text or a background color. And we have lots more planned for accessibility in the next year to keep on top of the best practices that we should continue to implement.
Awesome. Back to new chart types or new templates that we launched in 2023. One of them was our calculator template, which is perfect for creating powerful embeddable calculators, such as the one that we can see here. This is actually one that we created for a conference where we had a little quiz where you could figure out which chart type matches your personality. So you can kind of configure different question types and then output a custom response based on people's input. And you can even link that up to a Google Sheet.
We've also been adding some new color palettes to our templates. So these have been carefully curated with accessibility in mind. The colors in these palettes provide strong contrast between chart elements, and there's a selection of options to choose in the palette setting that you see across different templates. And these are something that's available to all users.
We've also made some improvements to our chart to image download. So now you can set a custom aspect ratio and export the visualization at that size, and you'll also see a preview of the image before you download it.
One feature that many users wanted to be able to do was to label individual series in their charts rather than simply toggling all labels on or off. So this is something we've added to the line bar pie templates, line chart race, Marimekko, and slope chart. So you can now customize which labels you include on your chart via this selective label setting, which can be useful when you really want to draw attention to particular data points to tell your stories.
And one more update from us. We launched a couple of new chart layout modes. In our layout settings, you can find them, and they allow you to move your title to the left along with your legend and stuff like that. This little video keeps pausing, but it should show it quite helpfully. And this can just be really nice to kind of mix things up, have a different layout, especially if you have a couple of different charts within one article. And of course, none of this would have been possible without you, our users. So much has happened, and we are so grateful for all the input and the feedback and the constant ideas and eagerness to try out new features and let us know how they are doing, how we are doing. So thank you. And over to Annie to talk about some specific projects that our users have been creating this year.
Thank you so much, Louisa. So yeah, as Louisa said, we want to showcase some of the projects made by our amazing users, and also show you some of the projects that we have been able to collaborate on this year. Um, Collaboration has powered some great content for us this year, including a blog post diving into how Tortoise and Sky News created their story surrounding the Westminster accounts, all using the Flourish SDK, and that is a really great piece. So you should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it already. We've also partnered with Canva to create interactive visualizations for their visual economy report, but I will be telling you a bit more about that in a little bit. And finally, we launched a blog in collaboration with Google Trends, showing you how to visualize Google Trends with Flourish. So one of the customer projects we wanted to highlight was the Tortoise Global AI Index, which is now in its fourth iteration. The AI Index aims to make sense of artificial intelligence in 62 countries, ranking the countries on 3 pillars of analysis, and it's all been visualized using Flourish. And as I said earlier, our next example is the Canva Visual Economy Report. Canva surveyed business leaders around the world, analyzing the impact that the visual economy has had on businesses. And they used Flourish to visualize their findings and make their report interactive. Another customer collaboration that was actually just made live today is the Webby's 2024 Trend Report, which is exploring how US consumers feel about AI innovations. The Webby's used Flourish and Canva to visualize their results in a super engaging interactive report. So make sure you check it out. As I said, it just got launched today. And then finally, earlier this year, we were joined by Google Trends senior data analyst Leslie to showcase how you can make use of Google Trends data in your charts. If you missed this webinar, we did upload it onto our YouTube channel, so make sure to check it out because Louisa and Leslie showed loads of great content in there. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Louisa to talk about a very special project that she led this year.
Thank you, Annie, and thank you for walking us through all those awesome customer projects and collaborations. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about another project that we led this year as Flourish, and that is something close to my heart and that I've been involved in. So kind of ever since we became part of the Canva family back in 2021, we've been keen to use our data visualization skills to empower charities and nonprofit organizations to kind of increase their impact and achieve their goals. And that has been supported by Canva because being a force for good is one of their values, and it's something that they do a lot around. So we thought, let's do the same, but focus on data visualization. So what we started is collaborating with a different charity around once a month to create visualizations for them using relevant public data or data that they share with us. And this is just to help them achieve their goals, whether it's on their website supporting them or on social media or in a deck that they're sharing with potential funders, etc. And I brought a couple of examples along today. One of them is with the Microloan Foundation, which is on a mission to help women in sub-Saharan Africa work their way out of poverty. So they provide small loans, and we help them visualize their impact through different charts around the amount of money dispersed, but also kind of where in which sub-Saharan African countries they are active. Another example where we collaborated as part of this Force for Good Viz Friday project was with Give Directly. This was a special project because Give Directly are already a big partner of Canva, with Canva funding them and helping bring kind of direct cash to some of the world's poorest people. And what we did is we took loads of their data around both their cash giving programs, but also kind of research on cash giving and the multiplier effect and in general, data on extreme poverty, and we put together loads of examples, and you can actually check those out in a Canva Newsrooms post where they use some of these to talk about their partnership with Give Directly as well. So I recommend checking that one out. More recently, we partnered with the UK-based charity, the Trussell Trust, to create data visualizations and content to support their vision of a future without the need for food banks. So they currently support a nationwide network of food banks, and they provide emergency food and support to people in poverty. So we took a look at the statistics behind that and also dove into some of the stories of individuals that are currently struggling to help this campaign of ending the need for food banks. So this was also a really special one to have worked on. And finally, most recently, we collaborated with Feast with Us to create some visualizations to support their mission of providing food to those in need in London. And this is also actually an organization that we are partnering with on a regular basis to actually go and help cook and provide meals for people in need. I'm actually going next week. So this is something that's really part of kind of the Canva and Flourish DNA. And we're super excited that we've been able to make this a bigger part of our kind of project footprint this year. And now back to Annie.
Thank you so much, Louisa. So now we're going to be moving on to visualizing connections and discussing our 2023 events. So the team has actually been all over the world this year. So obviously we had to show their globetrotting on a map. And this started out with the Outlier Conference in Porto in May. And then we moved on to London, back in our hometown. And then next we were in Costa Rica. And in August, we were at the O&A in Philadelphia. And then I think we have one more, GIJC in Sweden. And we finished the year at DataFest, which was in Georgia. But let me hand you back over to Louisa to talk you through some of the events that she attended this year.
Thank you, Annie. Yes, I was lucky enough to go to some of these conferences and events, so we wanted to shine the spotlight on them a little bit more. We were at the O&A Online News Association conference in Philly this year, which was absolutely amazing. We attended with some of our team members from Canva in Australia and some of us from Flourish in London, and we hosted 4 workshops with over 700 attendees, had a Creative Juices bar to keep people energized. And we also had the Which Chart Type Are You quiz, which we showed up with. And I've actually brought that quiz along with us today in case you wanted to find out which chart type matches your personality. You can find out via the QR code here. And if this is not on the screen for long enough, then we can also share it in the chat, I'm sure. But this is just a fun little exercise where we used our calculator template to figure this out. And I personally am a scatter plot. So let me know if you've done the quiz, what you are in the chat. After Philly and O&A, we went to Sweden, to Gothenburg, to attend the Global Investigative Journalism Conference, which was really special. We had a small stand with chocolates and water, and we ran out after day 1 because everyone was just excited and in need of chocolate and water and keen to chat with us. And it was really special to meet so many of our users in person. Here in one of the pictures, we can see Pinar, who is on the team of the Global Investigative Journalism Network, and she actually held a session about using Flourish for data viz, which was just very special to attend and to meet her, and in general to connect with so many people from around the globe and to see all your examples. It's always very cool and humbling, and I just love it. So thank you. And as a little fun thing that we did while we were at the conference, we walked past this stand that said that what was it? Let me go back a slide here. Sorry, this is an auto-playing Flourish story. Every 4 minutes, a shrimp sandwich is eaten at the Galthio Towers. This is the venue of the conference where we were. And we then just put that into our survey template to kind of visualize what that means in a day and in a week. And this was just something that I spun up for fun in like a couple of minutes, but it just kind of goes to show how you can also use Flourish for these very fun, quick solutions to bring to life some small stat about how many shrimp are eaten at a conference hotel. And then we also combined it with a video here in our story editor. So that is just a fun little tidbit. Moving on to the Thomson Reuters Foundation and their Changemakers program, which is something that we're super happy to be supporting. And partnering with the Changemakers is a group of journalists, advocates, and innovators working to advance media freedom and promote human rights. And we had the special opportunity to host them at our London office and give them a tour of Flourish and Canva and how they can use it, and also learn about their initiatives and what they've been up to. And that's it from me and partnerships and events.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. And I just have to say, none of this would have been possible without our brilliant team. So thank you so much to the team who have joined me today. But also a big shout out to the rest of the Flourish crew doing amazing work behind the scenes. Yeah, big thank you. Thank you everyone very much for joining the webinar. I hope you enjoyed. And thank you again to my amazing co-hosts, Louisa, Helly, and Katie. Our next webinar will be on the 9th of January, and we'll be talking all about visualizing text and interactive media, and that will be hosted by the lovely Simona and Vanessa, as you can see here. You can register on our website or in the link we will send out in the email with the recording later on in the week. And also make sure you follow us on our socials. We post loads of amazing content on there, along with tips and tricks for beginners or for experts. And also we post a lot about what events we'll be attending. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on there. Um, and then if you have any questions that we haven't managed to answer, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can use flourish-webinar@canva.com for webinar specific questions, or hello@flourish.studio for anything else. And that is all from us. So thank you once again to my amazing co-hosts and the rest of the Flourish team. And thank you so much for everyone for coming today. We will see you all next year.